Hello, everybody, and welcome to this third Equilibrium community call. Glad to have you here with us again. And I'm actually pretty surprised that it's already the third time that we're doing this. We have started this institution rather recently. We're doing it, as you recall, for those of you who are in the know, we're doing this monthly now, and already 3 months have passed since we started. So this is great. We've got a new institution going. Let me just give you a very brief overview for those of you who might be new. For those of you who are joining us again, I think it's still at hand to briefly review what is Equilibrium. If you don't know yet, or if you've forgotten the details, Equilibrium is the first decentralized interoperable money market building on Polkadot. And we have some very exciting, unique standalones. We are a DeFi one-stop shop offering you all the major DeFi use cases. That means that you will have a lending platform, which is cross-chain DEX, trading on margin, synthetics, and perpetuals. And I am here today with two of my colleagues. Let me just briefly introduce myself to you once again. If you don't know me yet, my name is Lesley. I'm responsible for business development and customer success. And I'm here with two of my colleagues from the management group at Equilibrium. That is Alex, who is our CEO, and Peter, who is our head of tech. And let me have those gentlemen introduce themselves to you. Alex, can I have you go first, please?
Absolutely. Hi, guys. Thank you very much for joining us today. As Lesley mentioned, we are hosting the third community call. We're super excited about that. Our community is steadily growing, specifically in the latest days when we were closing our whitelist for our PLO. We're super excited to have thousands of participants. We'll touch on that in the course of our today's call, and we really appreciate your guys' support. We really thank you for keeping up with us and actually joining us on this amazing journey. My name is Alex. I'm the CEO at Equilibrium. I'm responsible for the overall strategy, as you might know, and also I'm responsible for the product strategy as well, and for product development. I'm giving it over to Peter.
Yeah, nice to meet you guys. My name is Peter, and I am the project manager with Equilibrium and also a business analyst. So without further ado, let's keep going.
So I'm going to give you guys a quick overview in the agenda of what we're going to be talking about today. So as usual, we'll be having our tech updates so that you know where we are on our roadmap, what's new, what's happening, what you can expect next. Then we'll be telling you about one very interesting collaboration, which we think will bring a lot of mileage to Polkadot and also to Equilibrium. That is a collaboration with an automatic market maker called Curve. We'll tell you about our Ethereum bridge, which is already live, and what is happening with it. Then, of course, very, very current and important, the next upcoming steps in the PLO. That's our pure chain leasing offering. And of course, as usual, at the end of the presentation, you'll have the opportunity to ask questions and to comment. So if I could have the next slide, please. And I'm going to give it over to Peter.
Yeah, so first of all, we're going to be covering our tech updates. And as you guys see from this slide, we've been up to a lot of work, and as usual. And some exciting stuff is going on. So I'll be covering some of the bullet points listed on this slide, and the rest will be covered by my colleagues. And let's just skip for the next slide, where I'll be talking about the migration to Substrate 3.0. Basically, yeah, that's one of the tasks we have been up to recently, and we have migrated locally, and we're still testing some stuff. In particular, we are finalizing tests on our liquidity farming, and as soon as we are done with that, we're going to be launching this our new version of Equilibrium on Substrate 3.0 into the testnet. There have been some issues we've encountered while migrating, but we've fixed a lot of compatibility stuff and issues along the way. And currently we have some stuff and difficulties with client-side error handling, but we're about to tackle that, and hopefully next sprint we'll be releasing our new version into the testnet. That's it about the Substrate 3.0. If you want to learn about the details, please refer to the Polkadot's website and update, and you can see all the details and all the new comings related to the Substrate 3.0 there. Next one is the financial palette. As you may know, we've been involved with a Web3 grant program where we developed this module, which helps various projects to calculate various statistical and economical data based on the Oracle feeds and price data, which helps further to assess some metrics for different projects. And we at Equilibrium, we like to do everything from taking a scientific and basically economical approach. That's why we're using this palette ourselves. And if initially we were using like a basic version of it, which we call the volatility palette, so currently we've migrated to the financial palette, and this palette it basically helps us to calculate some financial data on a per user basis, like a portfolio volatility, if we take an individual portfolio of each user. And also we calculate overall system measures like overall system collateral volatility or overall bailment pool volatility. And we calculate also value at risk measures, which is basically a very simple measure, but that's a good start for us, and we expect to start assessing risk of the system using value at risk, and then later looking forward to migrating to some other more complicated stuff like expected shortfall, conditional value at risk, etc., etc. Basically, we're doing our research in this field as well. But currently, the financial palette is already an integral part of our system, and it's working in unison with our Oracle and other parts of the system as well. So that's it for the financial palette. So please, guys, switch to the next slide. And yeah, here I will talk about the liquidity farming. So we've been talking about the liquidity farming on our last call, and it's a work in progress for us. We're doing a lot of research in this field, and basically introducing corrections along the way as we learn more stuff from Polkadot and Web3, and as we develop our system ourselves. And initially, we decided to take like a modular approach to this task. And basically, initially, we would like to reward bailsmen pool only, because bailsmen, they play a crucial role inside the Equilibrium ecosystem, and basically people who bring liquidity into the bailsman pool, they will eventually make sure that the entire system stays solvent, because as you know from our design, bailsmen are basically analogous to keepers in MakerDAO, I would say so, but they bring liquidity in advance, and they take on risk of borrower liquidation, and in turn for that risk, they get rewards in EQ tokens. And so we will be attracting those bailsmen and that liquidity by offering those people who bring liquidity into Equilibrium rewards as high as 20% annually. And those rewards will be distributed in EQ tokens as well. And this is good news for people who already own some EQ tokens and who have vested some EQ tokens for them, basically who have some free funds unlocked. They can put those funds into the bailsman pool and basically earn additional rewards on those funds. And this solves one issue in particular we want to address, is basically limiting the sell pressure on EQ tokens which are being vested, because we think it's worthwhile, instead of selling EQ tokens, if you believe in our project, just staking them inside our system and earning additional rewards. And I already talked about the second issue, which is bootstrapping initial liquidity. And currently we're doing lots of research related to how we want to reward other participants in our system who are borrowers and lenders. And if you were with us last time, you probably heard that I mentioned that initially we will be launching lending from the bailsman pool directly. And so bailsmen, they will be both lenders and insurers in our system initially. And then we will separate out the lenders into the separate pool. And to reward those groups of people, we're basically thinking about utilization and yield curves based on collateralization levels. And this is similar to what Polkadot does itself with its staking rewards. As you may know, those people who nominate validators, they get rewards which are based on the staking ratio, target staking ratio. And what we want to introduce is basically a target collateralization ratio for each individual portfolio. And let's say if it's like 200%, we will reward users at maximum 20% APR. And if it gets less, that means if your portfolio gets more risky, the reward will fall off exponentially. And if it gets more and your portfolio gets less risky, it will fall off linearly. So it's basically like the reverse curve of what you have seen with staking curve of Polka itself. So stay in touch with us, and we will keep you posted on our updates, and we will share articles and some technical details when they come along. So that's it for the liquidity farming. And the last one I'm going to be talking about, but not the least one, is the Rabina collaboration. So basically, Rabina is one of the prominent validators inside the ecosystem. They help a lot of projects. They validate both Polkadot and Kusama networks, and they're doing a really exceptional job. And we've been collaborating with them for some time already because we want to bring a text-based interface for interacting with our system directly into Telegram. So guys from Rabina, they help us with building a Telegram bot, which will be used as a tool for monitoring your portfolios, or for example, looking for liquidations, monitoring the overall system health, calculating how much you have earned as a bailsman, or calculating how much you have spent on average as a borrower, and all those various interesting statistics. And basically, we've provided guys from Rabina with API, which calculates all those aggregates and numbers I've just talked about, and they're going to build the chat bot, a Telegram bot, off of that API, and it's going to be awesome. Yeah, and basically, if you want to check what we currently have in our API so far, you can follow the link which is on the screen and see the details and the description there. So yes, this is one of the things we're really looking forward to. And that's it from my part, and let's hop on to the next slide, where Lesley will talk about our mobile interfaces.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in fact, this mobile interface is especially exciting for our clients, for our user community, because this is something that's going to make your life as a user a lot easier, a lot more convenient. I told you at the beginning, as a reminder, that one of the things that we are seeking to do at Equilibrium is to end market fragmentation. Among other ways we do that is by being a one-stop DeFi shop with all the key use cases. And another way that we do this in a related way is through this product, through the mobile interface, which we are planning. And what does this involve? Why is that so? Because this interface will actually give you the opportunity to manage and juggle. Well, you won't have to juggle your multiple accounts like you have been doing most likely on different protocols until now. You'll be able to manage them through one easy user interface. And that will be, of course, I think, a big help. Not only is this user user interface is going to be intuitive and self-explanatory. You won't have to study it long to be able to use it, but it's also going to offer you a lot of synergies to the accounts that you have already right now. It's going to obviously work well in conjunction with our DEX, with our decentralized exchange, give you a great overview for your trading, and will help you to monitor all of the other assets that you have and that you would like to use in connection with Equilibrium's products. So those are notably the following key crypto assets, obviously Ether and ERC20, Bitcoin, DOT, Cosmos-based assets, EOS, and Tezos. So this is a really exciting feature that will obviously pull everything together and make everyone's life a lot easier. And with that, I would like to pass on the next slide to Alex.
Yeah, so
we need the next slide, Alex.
Hello?
Yeah, we need the next slide.
Can you see that?
Nope.
Interesting.
It seems to be frozen. So let me just, can we try again?
Okay. Can you see that?
Yes, now we can see it. Go for it.
Oh, awesome. Here I actually wanted to touch on our latest development, which is also exciting and actually shows our progress in terms of our integration with the entire Polkadot ecosystem. So with that, I mean that we have actually integrated the Cumulus module into our substrate, and we have actually applied for integration with Rococo. And Equilibrium has been invited to the 6th batch for integration, and this is really exciting. So we're expecting the integration with Rococo in the couple weeks or so. So Rococo itself is, you guys know, the Polkadot's testnet for parachains. So all the new developments in terms of parachains and all the testing around this technology will be done on the basis of this network before actually parachain stuff will go into production into Kusama network and the Polkadot network respectively. Actually, this sort of testnet integration will demonstrate the compatibility of our substrates with Kusama and Polkadot networks, and actually it shows our kind of readiness for becoming the parachain of the Polkadot network and Kusama network as well. So also I wanted to touch on our decentralized exchange. You obviously know that Equilibrium is comprised of the comprehensive lending platform, which is already exciting because it's cross-chain. It enables multiple assets from various blockchains to be lent out or to be basically settled into multiple liquidity pools that we are introducing in terms of the lending platform. But the second sort of crucial component, the most important one, is the decentralized exchange, which will also enable cross-chain trading. Actually, it will introduce a bunch of functionality, including the referral program. So it will introduce a lot of market making opportunities, and also the rebate programs for active traders. Actually, we have already approached the preparation for DEX development. So basically the first steps that we foresee in that process is implementing the maintenance margin call functionality, and also the lending functionality, which is relevant both for the lending platform itself and the decentralized exchange, because this will enable the trading on margin. And actually, with regards to our further roadmap in terms of decentralized exchange development, we are actually considering implementing the off-chain high-performance order book. The particular architecture solution are still under consideration. But anyways, like we are expecting to roll out really fast and smooth matching for orders, and that will be run in trustless environments, which is really exciting. Also, we're expecting to launch the derivative market with the great variety of instruments, and currently we're thinking of the link between the spot and the futures market. According to our considerations, we're thinking that we'll be taking the averaged earnings of bailsmen in the sort of funding period to enable this link. And actually, the launch of the first version of decentralized exchange is planned for Q2 2021. So also I wanted to touch on the collaboration with the Curve team, which is really exciting, and this has impact not only for our project but on the entire Polkadot ecosystem, because it's a huge event. So basically, Curve itself is the fourth DeFi project by total locked value, with almost $4 billion of liquidity locked on the protocol. And actually it enables the low slippage swaps between homogeneous assets, specifically stablecoins. And the fact that Curve will be implemented and actually rolled out, and this technology will be rolled out on our parachain, on Equilibrium's parachain, this is really huge news, not only for our project, but as I said, for the entire ecosystem as well. So the nature of this collaboration is that our team will be leveraging our technical expertise. You guys probably know that we have very advanced technical team who is building exciting products with a huge experience both in the blockchain space and in building financial instruments and financial applications. This development is supported by the Web3 grant program. So we received the grant from Web3 Foundation, which is actually awarded to benefit the Polkadot ecosystem as a whole. And according to these grants, we'll be developing the runtime version of the Curve technology. And these developments will be split into two stages. And the first one will be implementing the math and like more technical stuff, including like invariance and all these kind of things that is behind the Curve automated market maker. And on the second stage, we'll be implementing business logics and integrate everything into the sort of ready to go products. So according to the grant roadmap, the development will take us 6 weeks. So we are expecting to complete the developments at some point in April. So here's some details on our Ethereum bridge that we have recently launched, and currently is bridging the testnet of Ethereum called Rinkebai and our testnets based on the substrate technology. So actually, we started adding tokens into this bridge to test things through, to figure out how exactly the technology works. Actually, the first token that we have added is the virtual Curves CRV tokens. And we are excited that it's already working. We will be deploying this version into our production next week, so you can get hands-on. At some point, we'll make the related announcement. And actually, more tokens are coming down the line, so we'll be announcing these integrations soon as well.
Great.
Now,
so this one's mine.
exactly. Yeah.
to give you guys an update about the PLO, about the peer-chain leasing offering. This is something that, of course, everyone is waiting for with bated breath. Very exciting, one of the major events of the year, obviously, for Polkadot and all the projects involved. So we have some things here which are basically relating to the general development and also some new things. And one new point, which is very exciting for us, is that we're going to be working with the services of a dedicated custodian to enable the first step of the PLO, which is our token swap. And if you recall from the last community call, I gave you the lowdown overview of the PLO, what is going to be happening, how it's going to work. There are two stages. The first stage, once again, is a token swap in which we will be giving you our native utility token EQ in exchange for DOT. And that is in a preparation for the actual crowd loan for the bidding for the auction that's coming later. And so in the scope of this first swap, we will be using a custodian that will increase the security and reliability of the system, because the custodian will be responsible for managing the funds, the DOT that you commit. And we will shortly be announcing who this will be. We're currently in the onboarding process, so we like to have things official, and as soon as that is done, which will be in the coming days, we will be announcing that, so look out for it. Another update, which is very exciting for us, is to recall that we have had a whitelist in which we've been collecting participants for that token swap. And in fact, that whitelist has been growing steadily and really encouragingly, and it was closed yesterday. So we now have several thousand investors who have expressed their interest and given us their details in order to prepare for this token swap. We will, just as a aside to those who might be already, who might be included in that list on this call, you will be getting information about the KYC procedure shortly. We're making it operative and relatively simple. We will revert to you with details on that. And also, if you're involved in the referral opportunity, then we will be reaching out to you soon with details on how you can profit from that in about 10 days. As soon as we have our PLO web interface in place, we will be coming back to you and telling you how that will work. In terms of the date we will also be announcing shortly. We are expecting that the DOT swap will in probably the second week of March. And in terms of the KSM auction participation, we are going to decide on that after we've had a chance to evaluate the results of the white list, since we just closed it yesterday, and there really are a lot. There are several thousand. Give us a little bit of time to evaluate that and make the decision. We are, however, considering participating in both DOT and Kusama parachain networks. And with that, I'd like to ask for the next slide. So just to give you an overview, I think that most of you who are, of course, involved in Polkadot, watching us, watching maybe other projects on Polkadot, will probably know. But nonetheless, I think that for the sake of completeness, it makes sense to give you a short overview of what is the difference, what are all of these parachain networks. Obviously, my colleague Peter has been telling you about Rococo, which is the testnet framework for the parachain networks. And after that, the real online live parachain networks will be Kusama and respectively Polkadot. Kusama is coming first. Kusama is also dubbed the pioneer. Polkadot likes to call it its wild and fast network. Why is this? Because it's still a sort of an experimental kind of framework in which, yes, everything will be functional and it will be live and it will be real, but at the same time, there will still be experimentation going on. There will be some upgrades going on. There will be obviously some bugs that will need to be still eliminated, but a lot of the substrate projects will be involved in that, and we think it's probably pretty much a must. The second step is, of course, the full-fledged Polkadot parachain network, and that is considered to be sort of the Mercedes version in the sense that the more advanced iterations will be offered there, application refinements. Obviously, it'll be working on the latest technology, which is perfected from Kusama. But the plan is that these two networks will be working in parallel on a continual basis. So it's actually not envisioned that Kusama will end, but they will continue to grow in parallel. So that's a very exciting, actually, opportunity, and we are considering both. We will give you more details on that, again, as we evaluate the results of the whitelist and reach a final decision. If I could have the next slide, please. So some exciting things to mark in your calendar. At least one date is already concrete. We're having 2 events upcoming, which I want to tell you about so that you're looking out for them. And one is the Polka Defiance event, which is going to be happening on March 18th. You can mark it in your calendars now. It's going to be from 1 to 6 p.m. London time. What is this? This is an event which will give you the lowdown, obviously, as the name suggests, on the DeFi scene on Polkadot. There are some very exciting modules, topics like what does Polkadot's integral technology, which enables interoperability, mean for effectively increasing liquidity cross-chain? How does that affect not only Equilibrium, but also other projects? Why does that revolutionize DeFi? A very key point. Another one is you'll be getting an introduction to all of the major projects that are arriving or already on Polkadot. They will be giving you pitches. They will be telling you about their milestones, about their roadmaps. What are they introducing that is new, that is innovative? So definitely something that you'll be interested in if you want to know, get a good overview of what is going on in Polkadot in general, but specifically, obviously, with regard to DeFi. And then another thing which I think is very valuable is that there will be some VC funds that we will be sketching who are bringing in capital to Polkadot. You might know that a lot of the funds that are investing in DeFi projects are very excited about Polkadot's technology because they do recognize the potential that it has to completely revolutionize the DeFi market, and they are, of course, taking heed of that and investing quite heavily. So you'll also get a lowdown on those funds. And the next event, which is coming up, which we're also very excited about, you'll recall that we have 2 offices. One is in Moscow and one is in London. And the Moscow office will be hosting a tech meetup, which is going to be giving you insiders' perspectives into Polkadot technology from Parity employees who are working locally in Moscow and in Russia. And this event, by the way, you will be able to take advantage of whether or not you are actually located in Moscow, because we plan to do it both live and also to post it online, so that you'll be able to follow that from wherever you are. One of the reasons, of course, for this event is because Polkadot is something that's becoming more and more interesting for everyone. And we want to give, since we have a lot of our developers here in Moscow, we want to give them the opportunity, and also the whole community of developers, more insight into what specifically Polkadot offers, and the insights into the project's development, where it is, what's happening next, and specifically what is DeFi on Polkadot, what does it enable. So look out for that. We will be adding more details to our social media as they develop, and that's definitely something which I think promises to be very interesting. So if I could have the next slide, we are coming to the conclusion of the presentation part. These are our contacts if you would like to note them. Again, my name is Lesley, and I'm here with Alex, who is our CEO and founder, and with Peter. These are details for reaching out to us if you'd like to do so. And then I'm happy to open the floor for Q&A. And as usual, we have gathered your questions in advance. So according to how you would like to ask questions now, if you want to write in the chat, please feel free to do so, and then we will address them. Otherwise, we will start with the collection of questions that we already have been gathering from you in the past 2 days. I will wait for you if you would like to ask a question now. Otherwise, I will move on to the ones that we have collected. Going once, going twice. Okay, let me open up some of those questions that we have gathered. And let me see here. Okay, so maybe one thing which I think is very important, there's a question to face your competitors. What are you doing to make your project truly strong and unique? Can you give the key points to convince investors to invest in the project in the long term? Again, I mean, as I said to you at the beginning, one of the things which is very special about Equilibrium is that it's a one-stop shop offering all the essential DeFi use cases. And in fact, you can read about that if you would like an overview of that. In addition to simply what I'm saying, I am going to send you a link in the chat to an article that we've recently published in Medium, which will give you an overview of those features so that you can really study that and have that black on white on paper. In addition, I'd like to touch on some other points, just sort of on a high level, so that you keep in mind, besides our individual use cases, what features we have that really set us apart from other projects, especially projects that are doing, let's say, lending and such key DeFi use cases. So obviously, we are cross-chain interoperable, which is new compared to all of those major large projects that we have on Ethereum, like Synthetics, like MakerDAO, like Cosmos. In addition to that, we have some things which we've been telling you about in the past, which I think that it makes sense to recall once again, which really are unique. One is a risk algorithm which monitors our liquidity on a constant basis and also allows us to correct it through a motivation mechanism that incentivizes our bailsmen. Another unique point is, in fact, the bailsmen who take over the functionality of forced auctions, which other platforms use to resolve bad debt. And the bailsmen are really important because they prevent the kind of fiascos that we've seen happening on MakerDAO, let's say, on Black Thursday last year. A third point is our programmatic interest rate, which offers us a lot of flexibility, and it gives us the option to offer you one of the lowest levels of minimum over-collateralization that's on the market. That's 105%. And it also gives you as a user the opportunity to choose your collateral ratio and influence the interest rates that you get in the end. They're not fixed as they are on most projects. On Equilibrium, you can determine them yourselves. So that is something which also is very special. And essentially, all of this taken together really sets Equilibrium apart from all of the other projects out there. I see that you've added some other questions here to the chat, so let me just see. What are the benefits of participating in the PLO rather than waiting for exchanges? Well, there are some pretty obvious benefits, actually. I would say that, first of all, the PLO gives you a good chance to acquire and start using EQ tokens just as our products are being launched. And what that means is, well, that makes sense for several reasons, obviously, right? First of all, you're a first mover. You can assume that the price of the EQ tokens is going to be cheaper in the beginning, and it'll make you, make it easier for you to get involved in the project than if you wait to buy the tokens later on. And also, obviously, once the token hits exchanges, the price is going to be dictated by the market, which means that you're not going to be able to plan your costs like you would be able to do if you participate already in the early stage in the PLO, where the price will be fixed. I see somebody else has written, how can I join the testnet? Maybe I would like to give this one to Peter. Peter, would you like to comment on the testnet?
Yeah. Well, our testnet has been live, well up and running for already 3 months. And if you want to go ahead and play with it, let me just give me a second. I will share a link. Just a second. Yep, going there myself.
It's pretty available from the website. So yeah, Peter will just a link.
Yeah, right here. Send it into the chat.
And again, as always, we appreciate the feedback from the community because it's really valuable, and we usually pay close attention to what our users tell us with regards to the user experience, with regards to user interfaces, and we definitely make certain amendments that make the overall user experience more kind of slick and helpful to the end users of our products.
So, maybe just another point about the testnet is that this is something which is really going to give you the opportunity, to not only try it out, but to see what the products are going to look like, because actually everything except for the lending mechanism is already on there. So that's really going to give you a pretty good overview of how it works and what it feels like. So let's see, I see some new questions. And what kind of internal mechanism to bring long-term benefits to investors and wizard themselves for the long-term development? I'm not quite sure I understand the question, to be honest with you. So I'm going to interpret a little bit, and if it's not right, then please specify in the chat what you mean. I assume you're asking about what kind of benefits we as a project offer investors long term, as in terms of our products and offerings. And if that's not correct, then please interrupt me before I start. But otherwise, I would address that. Again, I sort of already touched on this with the first questions, but I think that essentially what you have to keep in mind is that Equilibrium is not only a one-stop shop and not only has unique security mechanisms such as monitoring its liquidity in real time, but it also, through the cross-chain functionality, is going to have the opportunity to increase the liquidity pools that have otherwise been available to DeFi projects until now immensely. And this is something that is revolutionary for DeFi overall, because one of the perpetual problems of DeFi is in fact liquidity and limits. And this is of course being revolutionized and expanded upon through the cross-chain functionality. So this is something which is also extremely valuable. And we are expecting that there is going to be, in general, an explosion of DeFi, the DeFi market with the advent of Polkadot as it goes live and as the parachains become active. So this is not only referring to our project, and this is not any kind of advice to investors. This is just an observation about what we see the potential of Polkadot as being for DeFi overall, and specifically told you about Equilibrium. So I think that you can draw conclusions in terms of what we're offering to the market and to users overall. Let's see, we have another question here which is very similar, and I'm not really sure how to differentiate this. What kind of internal mechanism to bring long-term benefits to investors Equilibrium themselves for the long-term development? I don't know. Alex, do you understand this question? If you do, please take it, because I feel like I'm repeating myself. So I'm not sure, again, this does look like it's intended to be a different question.
I'm not sure about the particular sense behind that, but in terms of like our intention for the long-term development, I should admit that we are building the exciting platform, which is supposed to be one of the most comprehensive DeFi platforms in the space. And definitely we have a lot of work on our roadmap. We just, in the very, very beginning, we've just developed the lending platform. And this is actually one of the, from our perspective, technically the simplest parts of our system, but it actually brings up certain fundamentals for the further developments. And as you may know, that other components of the system, they will not be built from scratch, but they will be leveraging the technology that we are rolling out now. And actually, it will be sort of, the developments that we have rolled out now is sort of building block, the basis for the further development of decentralized exchange and other products on top of our core technology. And we are definitely super motivated for bringing that live into production and to keep up with our long-term vision to become the full-fledged one-stop shop for DeFi users who can basically utilize all our product line and get all the sort of use cases for DeFi in just in a single place in quite straightforward and simple to use interface.
So I see another question also from the same participant. How will you resolve the three major pain points for crypto investors: diversity, value, and convenience? This is something actually I would like to ask maybe Peter to address. Again, I think that this question, I'm not sure exactly if I'm interpreting it right. The three major pain points, if those are for crypto investors, diversity, value, and convenience, how do we address those in terms of our technology and our strategy?
Well, diversity. Um, Let me think just for a moment. That's a really tricky question. Yeah, well, I'll start with value. Basically, we've one-of-a-kind projects, and I haven't seen anything on the market so far, and that alone brings a lot of value to the investors, along with what Web3 and Parity do for the ecosystem, and how are we supposed and are actually growing with the ecosystem actually brings lots of value to users and investors. The interoperability and bringing different assets into the Polkadot ecosystem also brings value to investors, because basically Polkadot aims to unify all the fragmented blockchains together, and you will be working with different assets from different chains in one place. And Equilibrium brings additional value to that by providing you with exceptional and easy to use interfaces, and with exceptional and thoroughly thought out technology. Diversity, well, we're basically like a DeFi 2.0, and we're making DeFi diverse, because the only stuff you see is boring lending and borrowing on Ethereum, and that's it. And we are making that boring stuff exciting by basically combining different use DeFi use cases into one, and we're building like a DEX on top of our borrowing and lending facility. And well, you've probably seen several such projects on Ethereum as well. Among them are DYDX, who are doing pretty similar stuff, but they're very limited from their technological and base point of view, because Ethereum is not scalable, Ethereum is expensive, and they have to come up with some sorts of layer 2 solutions and stuff like that. And in Polkadot, everything just works for you out of the box. And convenience, well, I've already covered it in my previous answers. Convenience comes from the fact that you will be dealing with different assets which will be bridged into the Polkadot from one interface, and basically using only one wallet. Of course, those won't be like the real assets from other blockchains, but rather they're wrapped representations. But still, you will be the sole manager of all of your private keys, and all the privacy on all the management of your assets and all the custody of your assets will be left up to you without any third parties interfering here. Hopefully I just answered this question, and I've been busy answering all the other questions by commenting them in the Q&A section, so please refer to my comments.
Yeah, thanks, Peter. And actually, I see several prominent questions in this section that I wanted to bring up to our conversation, which seemed to me quite relevant, and we definitely would love to discuss that as well. So our follower with the name Hibi Yuwa is asking, when will the exchange go online? And another question he is raising is, why change from 0.17 to 0.07 dots for EQ? So actually addressing the first question with regards to exchange, you guys know that we are in constant conversations with the biggest exchanges in the space. We are talking to Huobi, to OKX, to Binance, and we have got very good progress on that side. However, here are several things that you guys need to account. We have certain roadmap for our project. It's one thing, and actually we are expecting to conduct the first phase of our PLO before we basically get our token listed on exchanges, because that makes sense for many reasons. And we are currently, like as Lesley mentions, in the middle of onboarding with the custodian. So as soon as we complete this onboarding process, we will expectedly kick off the first phase of our PLO. So the second thing which we also need to take into account is that these exchanges, like most of them, are expecting us to collaborate with them on our second phase of PLO. And since the second phase will be launched simultaneously with introducing parachains on Polkadot, that might also slightly delay things in terms of listings. Expectedly, we will try to manage that and to make it as soon as possible. But here's actually several fundamental things that you guys need to take into account. We obviously, like, our team is stick to the, as I said, to the project development, and we definitely wish a lot of success to Equilibrium and to the Q token. Obviously, we never give investment advices here, but anyways, like we are staying for the sort of prominent launch of and prominent premier listings for our token. And we are working on that constantly, and again, we have very good progress here for sure. So with regards to the second question, why change from 0.17 to 0.07 dot for EQ? I actually don't know where you got this number. Internally, we have been discussing something of this range. But we have not announced the particular numbers in terms of like token valuation and hard caps for our two phases of our PLO, and we are expecting to announce that quite shortly. So keep up with us and watch the announcements in our social media channels.
Okay, we've got another one here. Will you still promote the application of EUSDT and the interaction of it with other EOS DeFi, or is that just a part of history? How can an EOS and EUSDT holder interact with the new Equilibrium DeFi? Peter, would you like to take that?
Which one was that again?
Let me repeat it. It's in the questions and answers. Will you still promote the application of EOSDT and interaction of it with other EOS DeFi, or is that just a part of history? How can an EOS and EOSDT holder interact with the new Equilibrium DeFi?
Well, I've already commented on that question. Eventually, we're aiming at basically unifying our systems, the new one and the, I would call it legacy one on EOS, and basically we want to have stablecoin present in different blockchains. So be that Polkadot, EOS, Ethereum, and we want to make something competitive and decentralized, unlike Tether. With Tether, they're present in different blockchains, and you can actually swap from one blockchain to another using either the Bitfinex interface or some other bridges currently available from third parties. And with us, it's going to be completely decentralized. So stay tuned, and definitely we're not putting EOS aside, because we've put a lot of work into that project, and that's still one of the most prominent projects inside EOS ecosystem, and we're just currently focused on Polkadot. Yeah.
Exactly,
Okay.
and I should admit that EOSDT is obviously up and running. So with regards to merging EOSDT with Polkadot, we have not yet made a particular decision yet. But again, so the projects will be at least for the first periods of Polkadot project developments, like coexist in parallel. But again, so we are considering different scenarios. Potentially, we might merge these two products. But again, this is the matter of further decisions that will be made on later stage.
Okay. Next two ones. When will the exchange go online? Again, as I already mentioned, we are currently onboarding with our custodians, and this is probably going to happen in the second week of March. So we will come back to you with more details on the exact date. And then we have, when will you send the referral link? I already told you that as well. That will be probably in the next 10 days after our web interface for the PLO is done. And then we have a question. The project is developing stablecoins. So what is the function of stablecoins in the ecosystem? Alex, would you like to take that?
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, I should admit that we have developed the stablecoin functionality. It's already live on our testnet. You can test it out if you wish. This is the decentralized stablecoin, which is backed by the basket of collateral, which makes us different to other DeFi projects, because like only at Equilibrium we are accepting the basket of collateral, which is a true basket. We are evaluating the risk level in these baskets constantly, thanks to our on-chain risk management system. And actually, as Lesley mentioned, we have developed certain system components that make Equilibrium unique. Besides the risk management system, we also have the programmatic interest rates. We have the bailout mechanism, which makes the stablecoin more stable. And the function of stablecoins in the ecosystem will be very important, because we are expecting it to become a matter of quotation for other cryptocurrencies on our decentralized exchange. And obviously there will be a lot of more applications for the stablecoin. For example, we have partnered with the Moonbeam projects. We're expecting to port our stablecoin into their ecosystem, where it might be used by other DeFi projects that are arriving at Polkadot. And obviously, thanks to our bridge and like to our Ethereum bridge and other bridges, they will be launched on Polkadot. We are expecting our stablecoin to become really cross-chain, which can be ported to other blockchains. Peter was telling about the similar functionality of Tether, and maybe some of you has already used like Tether and transferred from one blockchain to another, and you may recall that it might be a little bit inconvenient because you're using centralized interfaces and all the inherited risks. You're taking all the inherited risks of that. In our case, it will be fully decentralized in fully decentralized environment. Basically, all the transfers through bridges, through decentralized bridges, through decentralized networks. And yeah, we're super excited about that, and I think that actually our stablecoin will obtain a lot of adoption in the ecosystem.
Okay, we're running out of time. We've got a few that maybe we can take really fast, because of course Peter has written a lot of comments here, so actually we don't need to repeat all of those questions, but there are some here that I think we can go through very quickly. In addition to the EQ swap with DOT, are there any additional coins that can do EQ swaps, for example, NUT or Kusama? Again, as you probably know, we already did a swap between EQ and NUT last year. We're not planning one in the future for NUT. Kusama, we might also involve, but that still has to be decided, again, pending the evaluation of the white lists. Now I see here another question about local communities. This is a marketing query. Any plans for local community virtual meetups? Any plans for promotions on Quora? We do have a very strong focus on Asia, and we are planning some virtual meetups in the APAC area. So stay tuned for that. We will be announcing details on that as the dates get closer. So that is something you can look forward to. And then we have a question, Equilibrium is creating a lot of buzz in the crypto space, and how can the community create a positive impact in the Equilibrium ecosystem? Well, obviously, one thing that you can always do is join our ambassador pool. And if I can ask someone maybe from our team who is listening to upload a link to the ambassadors, I don't have it at hand, that would be something wonderful, because then you can look for that and you can see what exactly you can do to get involved. So we are out of time, actually, guys, and thank you very much for your attention. I tell you what, if we don't manage to get the link to the ambassadors on the chat right now, right here, we will send it in our Telegram chat, our official Equilibrium Telegram chat. And I'm sure you all know that. If not, you can look for it and you will see that then momentarily there, okay? So thank you very much for your attention. Have a great weekend that's upcoming, and looking forward to seeing you next time next month, okay? Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Till soon.
Yeah.